Alrighty, welcome back everyone to another video. We're going to do something a bit different. We're going to combine matchups and like waiver free agents nice and early, because ultimately there will be some names, but due to the beauty of Substack, I'll release this video, and any names that emerge as I spend more time with the team lists and sort of review ownership percentages and whatnot, I'll just post a list on Substack for you guys later. But this is for you to watch or listen to prior to then, obviously, and we can talk about matchups straight away. Sort of two birds, one stone it. I'm so excited to present matchups in my new format. It is a new engine driven off pretty much a lot of the same metrics, same algorithm, everything that I've done in the past, but it's just cleaner, and it actually has like a learning component in there, which I won't go into too much detail, but it's pretty cool. Alrighty, this is game one of the round. I'll just set my screen up appropriately on the left here to just help me keep a track of things. Got three elite matchups in this one. I'll just touch on those really quickly. It's Manly's fullback Tommy, left wing Lehigh Hopewadi, and it is Rob Toya for the Roosters, which, as a matter of fact, usually leads to the winger outside them benefiting to some degree. So the favourable matchup for Mark Nwangani-Tawase exists too. Favourable as well for Daniel Tupou. So I have an absolute headache of a decision to make in my comp, which is I've got to play basically one of Lehigh or Tupes, and I don't know where to begin with that. In fact, I might play neither and just let it like play someone else and let the chips fall where they may. So just call out the elite ones. No gun matchups in this. In terms of pickups, obviously Robson's going to be owned everywhere, and he had a good enough start that his trade window has passed. I do like Tommy for a VC in this one. Obviously nothing else really stands out to me. Halves are captured together in this engine because I'm kind of trying to differentiate the way that they swing left and right these days. A lot of guys play both sides of the ruck. I don't think it's a fair call out a lot of times to just pinpoint certain halves. That's just how I'm doing it, and you'll see how that plays out in the Oracle as well. If you're in the Oracle using some of the new features that release in probably about 24 hours, honestly, the new Oracle features, maybe even less. So really exciting stuff. Simkin, I'm really worried that bench has killed Simkin. Siwa Wong keeps a start. I really like him if he's been missed in your league because he hasn't hit any upside yet. We're talking about this year being not as middle orientated as we thought it would be. So a guy like Siwa Wong, who did have multiple games last year of 50 tackles, I believe, his upside is limited, but his talent isn't, and playing outside DC, I mean, look what Ola Kawatu did. Now, things need to gel there for the Roosters. This might be the matchup that happens, so I really like Siwa Wong for a start. He has the favourable matchup, which isn't quite elite, but it's still quite good. It's favourable, obviously, which is better than neutral, much better than tough, and way better than avoid. Gus Crichton also favourable is this week. The week we see a bit more from Gussie Crichton. Drafters will be hating what they're seeing so far. Checking my list, no one else from this game really jumps out. Billy Smith's playable. He's played one game, had the 2 games off. He's got a tough matchup on paper, but yeah, I think he's playable in this in deep leagues as your 4th CTW. He's shown a little more durability, quote unquote, touch wood and everything last year. I felt like he played quite a bit. It's just me going off memory. I think we moved to game 2, which is our Warriors v Tigers game, I believe. Just looking at the matchups here. One gun matchup for James Fisher-Harris and Jackson Ford. Look, that is majorly persuaded by their sheer averages, because we're only 3 weeks in. A lot of the data is a bit noisy, and you can see, look, low confidence reflects fewer than 3 rounds of data. Treat early season matchups as directional signals, obviously, so just take that with a grain of salt. But obviously those guys are starts, and on the flip side, we've got like the favourable even for the Tigers, just due to what Terrell May is putting out there, and Alex Twal if he's captured as an FRF, which I believe I do, even though he's playing lock. So anyway, yeah, well, he's got a elite matchup anyway too, and that goes for the same for Aaron Clark, We've got the winger, right wing so it's Dallin Watini Zalesniak, left centre Makasini elite, which is nice, and elite for the left centre of the Warriors, who could be anyone from Pompey to Leka Halasima. Speaking of Leka Halasima, he doesn't have the matchup, but I wouldn't be too caught up on matchups, as I said, after 3 rounds, guys. It's just more for fun and just to showcase and talk about pickups. On pickups, if Pompey starts, if this Warriors team's going to be this good, Pompey is a low-end grab for sure. Do like him in deep leagues as a 4th, 5th rotational centre winger. We do have Luki Metcalf coming back into the halves. Speaking of halves, it's still elite, but that's more Dewey and Luai's, what do you call it? Kind of like this, just the scoring, because I've only got 2 rounds of data as scorers, so they're still sitting real high averages, which is pushing their matchup up, obviously. Do I have anyone mentioned? Yeah, Twal, you got to get him if he's available. I don't know like how long it lasts. I don't know how durable he is. Got HIAs in the past, blah, blah, blah. But for now, dual position, chuck him in the front row. He's offloading. Just go all in. Love it. No one else from this one for me that stands out too clearly. Mitch Barnett looked pretty good. If he's available, you could stash him, see what happens. I don't think he'd be available though. For Luke Laulii, Jarrell Scout and Taruva types, just keep an eye on him. I'm not going nuts. I don't know how good the Tigers will be. Maybe after the lower score on the weekend, you could target KPP. If he scores low in this one, which he might, I'd really want to go and get me some KPP. Sucks for owners of him. Oh, not him as much outside Dewey, but Fainu outside Luai now. With Luai gone, that's going to sting a little bit of that upside out of him, I believe. Next game's Battle of Brisbane, which pull up here, guys. Again, I'm not giving much sort of credence to the matchups on this one. The key standout is the lock matchup for the Bronx and the right 2RF Dolphins matchup, which I believe is Finafuiaki, which is really fun, like crazy matchup there. Yeah, again, just on the information at hand, it's pretty lean. So some of these matchups are a bit interesting. Hammer's got a matchup. If you want it, you can have it. I wouldn't overvalue it, but you got him, you start him as usual type thing. The backline, in fact, for the Dolphins is worth calling out. It's like neutral, favourable for the both centres, favourable for Osaka. That's pretty nice. Another call out with low confidence there on the right centre, which is interesting. Yep. What have I got for waivers from this one? Obviously with Haas missing, I think Willison, I don't know about, I'd love to get a look at him before you start him, and obviously it's just a short-term thing for Haas. What I would say is probably Haas owners probably value the pickup of Willison, whether it's freeze or waiver, more than anyone else, because if it becomes more than that, and we see Willison finally ascend into a 55-60 minute role, which I still don't know. Has he just not... What's taking him so long to develop and kick on? I've seen real good moments from him, but I thought, like, it feels like it's been 3 to 4 years of talking about Willison and it just hasn't turned into anything. I know the minutes haven't been there, but in terms of development, like, surely eventually you just kick down the door if you're really what people suggest you are, and I don't know if he is that, so that's just one to monitor. But yeah, for Willison, I wouldn't break your back, but as a Payne Haas owner, you probably view that a bit differently perhaps. Whereas with Jensen, if he gets 5 more minutes, it's like 3 to 4 more points, but he just doesn't do enough. But what if Jensen got heaps more minutes? But again, that's real deep league stuff. I'd be going Willison for maybe the upside of an offload or a bit more running game than Jensen. Personally, I think Jake Averillo, it could be wavered in many leagues. Just not off this matchup, but off what I saw with the fatigue in the game right now. Those guys that can grab off a quick play the ball 30 meters out, there seem to be the guys that are really carving up Supercoach wise. Some examples are, another example is like a Jackson Purdue, not as much Rob Toya's try, but Jackson Purdue, Averillo, those foot speed guys, because there's a bit more of this broken play or this momentum play the ball stuff 20 meters out. I think Averillo, I'm not saying break your back for him or burn like the highest ticket, but if he is available even on freeze tomorrow morning and you've got space, not like a luxury stash, he's not that sort of thing, but yeah, I think he benefits from what's going on in the footy at the moment. But again, that's just like a low end thing if people are just looking for something to explore or exploit sort of a different angle in the deeper league. He could also be owned because he's been pretty good. I don't think Grant Anderson, I mean, yeah, you could fire. I know the Broncos are going on a run soon as well, so maybe it is time you can grab your Anderson. If Karapani got punted, which he would in many leagues, I still think there's a bit of daylight there for him to be a bit more impactful. Just checking, yeah, the Lemuelu and Finafuiaki, you got to believe in it until it isn't a thing because of the way that the halves use them, I think, and then the base from Lemuelu was actually pretty good. So, yeah, in terms of those two, I think they should be owned. Just checking, Ricky should be owned, I believe, not because of the game, but because just he might have the base and then the occasional bit of upside, and in deep leagues, for sure, I think you can own him. Also not a guy I'd really waiver for, but yeah, he could be owned. Just checking my list. Yeah, we spoke about Twal, we spoke about Willison, spoke about Lemuelu, we spoke about Avarillo. Next game is yeah, and I forgot to mention Metcalf. He's back, but I think he'd be owned everywhere, and if not, take a stab, because the Warriors are playing such good footy as a team that the play the ball stuff, the momentum they gain, a guy like Metcalf with a bit of running game could seriously deliver some upside, which is real nice. Dogs Knights, where's that sitting? It's looking good for the left wing, Greggy Marju. Again, the Dogs are pretty good and pretty staunch, so I wouldn't overvalue any of these matchups here, really. It's pretty favourable for them, generally speaking, too, with an elite matchup for Jacob Preston. But that's anchored deeply in how good Jacob Preston's been. Nearly just sort of similar for Greggy Marju, and obviously with the Raiders left winger crossing for against Canterbury, I believe Tamale crossed twice against Canterbury. I believe so. That's bumping this up, guys, as well. So, you know, grain of salt, early days, obviously. KO Weeks is a sit in this one, I reckon. But, I mean, who knows, honestly? No, that's not KO Weeks. I'm an idiot. Because I was talking about Tamale. That's Fletcher Hunt. Yeah, Fletcher Hunt, whatever. Yeah, fire up your doggies sort of thing. Don't know how Newcastle will generate much. But what I want to say about this game is Matt Croker, I think, should be owned. Dual position, great minutes. He's like offloading and running hard. How sustainable is it? I don't know, but I do think he should be owned. So, yeah, Matt Croker, if you're sort of juggling crappy FRFs, he's worth a stab if he's going to play 60 plus minutes with his general output. Yeah. I think he's the main call out for those blokes. Yeah, Matt Croker. Nothing else there. Satili Tupanua is starting, but I don't really know what that means. So I think Bailey Hayward's minutes are going to decline. I just like Sean O'Sullivan and Kurt Mann could both rotate in. So it's people like me that had Hayward in a league where it's time to punt him, which is pretty easy to do. Fletcher Sharp's back. It's great for owners. McEwen's still there. McEwen, I don't know. That was highly touted. Sometimes he runs a nice line. Other times he looks average. I think you could drop him for something that's, you've seen more of. But if you're really desperate in 2RS, I think you can. The scores haven't been there. I'm not going to say grab him, but yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see if, what the relationship between Thomas Kahn and Jermaine McEwen's minutes are in the future. But yeah, neither really excite me too much just yet. Next game's Panthers Eels. This one, it's looking good for Penrith, as you'd expect. Wow, Thomas Jenkins, what a surprise. Pretty grim for Para. Yeah, good time to sit him against Penrith, who are just rolling, man. Like, look at this thing. Elite, favourable, it's all rolling. Yeah, go for it. This Isaiah Yo one's weird. Elite on a 59 score isn't like too crazy. It's the second ranked lock score though, which is interesting on the week, which is a surprise. It just shows how much the middles aren't sort of dominating. Can't believe Aaron Clark, who has the number one lock, Brisbane. Paddy Carrigan. Yeah, right. I thought Aaron Clark might be up top given what he's scoring, but maybe the Tigers have restricted locks which would be a surprise to me. For this one, in a really, really deep league, keep your eye on Sam Tuivasa. He looked really good. So many darn runs, and without Hopgood now, I wonder if Riles says, you know what, Tuivasa, you're going to play 50 minutes. And I reckon he's like a Junior Paulo style 50 minutes where it's 55 to 60 points in 50 minutes. I don't know. I can't recall much offloading from him, but just the runs are phenomenal. So, yeah, he's a good shout in a deep, deep league FRF or, you know, stashy type FRF things. Probably backfires. But if you're someone who is sick of missing guys because you don't grab them the week before they show something and then they go to the waiver process, Tuivasa before kickoff, if you're just cruising, have heaps of bench, whatever it is, he is one guy that eye test wise jumped out to me, which, it doesn't always mean anything, but with Hopgood going down, it could mean something. But I'm assuming between Dury, Moretti, Geimer, freaking Paulo, Williams, that they figure it out. But with Dylan Walker at 13, that's then Dury, I think, playing for him. Silva plays for Smith. Geimer and Tuivasa, like Tuivasa could play 50 minutes and Junior Paulo plays 45, 50 minutes. So like there is something there, just don't know how real it is. And whether this week's the time to do it, I'm not sure, given the avoid on him. All right. What else is standing out to me here? I just checked my sheet. Yes. Oh yeah. Both Eels back rowers are gettable, are rosterable. I wouldn't be frothing to start them this week, guys. Against Panthers, they're just looking too dominant. Next game, Cowboys Storm. A lot of matchups here. It's golden gay time here with the Melbourne attack. We got left to RF, hooker, that's Harry Grant. That's Alex McDonald. Favourable for Chan, who's rolling. Elite for the props. The avoid's anchored more in how little Kamakamitha's been doing for them. Gun for Alongo probably continues his run. Honestly, I'm probably going to put the captain on him, eh? Like, how could you not just go for it and have a laugh? It's looking good for the Storm with the halves even. Right wing Warbrick, I like that. Still got... Pardon me, every time I turn this camera on, I just can't stop yawning. I don't know what it is. It's something about the energy it takes to film and speak or whatever. This is good for Purdue and Taulagi owners. A little bit of hope if you are relying on Cowboys starters, which I am in a couple of leagues. Right to RF is Halem Lukey. That's good for him, for owners and for classic players. That's interesting. Your Halem Lukey stuff. I don't have any pickups for this one, really. Trent Liero, if he's out there, the minutes straight away were intriguing and he's starting. He just will tackle someone per minute effectively. And correct me if you think I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure he's developed a bit of an offload. Trent Liero. Now that I say that, I need to check it, but we'll just move on and I'll pull it back up in a sec. Raiders Sharks is a big one for me. Raiders Sharks, where it's going to hurt me if the Sharks don't turn up. Ignore left wing and fullback for the Sharks. Neutral for KO Weeks. Great for my boy Tamale, who I'm going to have to burn a ticket for. I really think I want him. Right centre Sasangi, but he will outperform that. Right centre Jesse Ramian has the matchup. Tough for Nikoro, who's not around, but Billy Burns is a bit of a different player. That could be interesting. Avoid on Wilton, probably true. The halves have it elite. I don't know how that works out. I guess Burton and Galvin didn't do much to the Raiders, so again, don't know how that came to be, sort of thing. Who are we just talking about? Liero. Trent Liero. Dude. Why can't I spell it? Because it's Loyero. Alright, see if I was right. No, I was wrong. So, no offload. So, I'm an idiot. But, I don't know, eye test stuff. But yeah, anyway, Trent Liero. Crazy base. 47 last year. 8 evade. So, he broke some tackles, which is like the opposite to what I would think. Basically, no scoring or create. So, like, if you get that 8, it's like, yeah, 55 in just like basey type things. Potentially more minutes. Like last year, he averaged 61 minutes. I'm expecting him to average 65. If he goes at a PPM, which he does, 65 to 70 minutes, that takes his average up to, let's say 562. He could be average 62 plus. That's like Isaiah Yeo areas for Trent Liero. So definitely grab Trent Liero, guys, if he's around. Do like that. Liero was spoken about. Wait, I'm talking about the Storm. Oh, because I was moved on to this game. My bad. Yeah. So Smithy's prop. Starling's still healthy. Tarpanay. Yeah, Noel Martin's still got the spot, which is good because Tomoko's in reserves. It's good for Martin owners, such as myself. Next game, Titans Dragons. This will be fun. Is this the last of the round? Yeah, it is. Favourable for Kinney, who's been quite good from an eye test perspective, just hasn't converted. We're not really interested in the wingers and the centres for the Titans. For St George, yeah, Gutho hasn't been good enough to warrant a matchup, really. I think Tuipulotu you got to start if you got him. It's looking good for Moses Suli, who I quite like. It's looking good for Val. This is real big and probably going to come to fruition, guys. The Val and Suli situation. Setu 2 not looking as good, whereas neutral's fine for Tuipulotu. So backing this in, those guys will benefit. Love this for my Jaden Sewer. That's super sick. Anyone who's drafted Sewer has just been absolutely stoked with the output. Finally started him on the weekend and he basically got me the win. So that feels real good, and he's earned a little soft spot in my heart as someone who really didn't care for him prior to this season. But I drafted him because I knew he sort of developed into something, right? He's sort of like a hard running back rower, and he was getting through some base, and his injury issues weren't as common. He still has his limps and whatnot, but he felt like he got tougher under Flanagan. I think Flanagan must speak his language because he's been quite good since Flanagan came on board. So yeah, happy with that. Happy with this matchup. Hopefully it converts. Kinney, the only favourable. We got elite for there, elite for Verrills, and elite for the left RF. Bo Firma, who's one of the best buy lows in the game right now. Tough for props, but that's because they've been so crap. Mofo and Tino. Just on Tino, guys, I do believe things will turn around. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I think that as a coach for Hannah, it's really important he understands some of his fringe players, gets to see what Moran does, what Cooper Bay does, what's he got with Mofo. I think all these things come into play, not to mention the inflammation for Tino. By all means, bench him. By all means, sell him. By all means, in draft, obviously in classic you shouldn't have him anymore, but I just think if you're surviving and you're just below even a 50 win rate, so say you're 1 from 2 like me, what he presents with upside and how he could turn things around, I think if you're not getting value back, you're better off just holding, frankly. Selling him this low, there's no point. However, if you could do like a Tino for a Max King to someone who's like dominating, and that person can afford to absorb the Tino, then go get the Max King and just bank the 60, 62 each week, maybe more from Max King. And therefore you're not losing that bench spot. So then you can start the Max King instead of the benching the Tino, for example, if you're feeling that way. And that frees you up to do other things. Whereas Tino's going to probably make life pretty tough for me. And the same goes for Lindsay Smith. I don't know if he'll get any more minutes, but yeah, if you can take him for someone who sees last year's average or last year's minutes or wants to handcuff with Isaiah Yeo or something, that's a good way to get rid of Lindsay Smith. Go to the Yeo owner. For me, unfortunately, that is me, but that's why I drafted him, to basically handcuff Yeo and just say, hey mate, like if Yeo goes down or if Yeo goes to Origin, here's Lindsay Smith, can I just get X back and just get a starter back, someone that you've got a bit more confidence in if you want to. But yeah, I sort of think he should return, but I'm just being optimistic because I have him, so I'm biased. Yeah, but with Tino, if you got him and you're surviving, hold. If you're dominating, go buy low. Same for Fermor. The Titans suck, but you know, if these guys are playing the minutes, or if Tino turns it around, and if you're good enough, you should make finals, and they've got a sick finals run, and by then they should be humming, similar to the Eels last year, where new coach are trying to set a standard, they get hammered, culture, focusing on minutes, it's all about process, it's all about big picture, and then things tighten up and we start to see that playing out a bit more. For this game, I think as well, like, just to highlight, I think Leilua, I don't like the bench of Halangahu, but I think Leilua has been playing decently, running hard. Suli, Tuipulotu with this matchup and the run the Dragons go on, they can all be waived in deep leagues or free agent pickups for sure. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head, but that is basically it for now. I will update the Substack later if I do another list. If people are throwing things at me like rankings, or, you know, can you help me sort between these 3 2RFs, and it helps me make an order like I did last week, I will submit that on the Substack as a broadcast comment or a note or something to help you. But yeah, this is just the new matchup video and the bit of waiver free agency stuff, which I hope you guys enjoy. I'm just going to call out the top matchups for every position as well. Fullback for Melbourne is number 1. Left wing for Newcastle is number 1, which is oh my god, blanking on him. Greg Marzu, the beefcake. Left centre and right centre of St George are both number 1, which shows the Titans are real leaky on the edge after those 6 agains create that bundle up in the middle as people dive in, and then people play to the edge and carve them. And they've also been playing well, Sully and Val. The halves of Melbourne are number 1. The right wing, Warbrick, are number 1. Prop of New Zealand, as I mentioned, is number 1, which is your Ford and Fisher Harris. Hooker for Melbourne, Harry Grant, number 1. Left to RF of Melbourne, Alec McDonald, or whoever subs in there, is number 1. Right to RF of the Dolphins, Finafuaki, is number 1. And lock of Brisbane is number 1 for, you know, Paddy Carrigan there. Is he lock? Am I tripping? Yeah, Jensen Haas. Yeah. So Paddy Carrigan with the gun match up there. Just for some key areas, fullbacks, Hammer, Penrith and Manly all have elite matchups. For playmakers in the halves for elite matchups, it's Cronulla, so Nico and Trindle. It's Wests, which I don't believe in, especially with the matchup. And Penrith halves, Talangi and Cleary, are the elite matchups that are the tier below. Locks, it's Aaron Clark, West's lock, Twal, and Penrith, Isaiah Yeo for some of the elite matchups. Cool, man. All right, enjoy.